is I don't know why I did that. Your radio is currently tuned to Nova Southeastern University's great start. Radio X, broadcasting on 88.5 FM WKPX Sunrise. And this is DJ DeRoss Fader, because I never leave and you hear me literally every night. But something a little bit different tonight. Instead of doing my regular show for the next hour, I have some very special guests in the booth with me. I have Nico Raymont, the self-proclaimed best rapper in the world.
That's me.
Of all time.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because it's just true.
Oh, man. All right, we're going to have a long discussion tonight. Anyway. I also have in the booth with me Julian Glassdoll.
Hello.
And I have my very own DJ Racito.
That's right.
Ronaldo Perez. And they're all part of The Craig Show. The Craig Show.
Craig Show.
The reason I have them in the booth with me tonight is because I love them, and they are debuting their new album, The Pilot Episode.
Yes.
When does it come out again? When does it drop?
April 1st.
April 1st. Easter.
March 1st. Easter. It's coming out on Easter.
Yes, this Sunday.
I feel controversy there, but we'll see how that goes.
Or Passover, if you
Another Easter Sunday, everyone.
Oh no! Oh no! No! It's all in good fun. They're fine.
Yes.
They're fine. Their music is. I actually have no idea what the music is.
Oh.
But we're gonna find out.
Yes.
We're gonna find out tonight. Anyway, guys, just before we get started, I want to remind you, if you don't already, go ahead and follow us on our social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Spotify if you look for a handle at NSU Radio X. We got some ticket giveaways coming up real soon. We got some music starting at around 10 o'clock. So make sure you stick around for that. Yeah, it's going to be a great night. Got a lot of stuff planned. So let's get on to the interview. So, tell me about yourselves. Where are you from? What's your first sign?
We're The Craig Show.
Yes.
And we are from here, Davie, Florida. Formed here from Davie, Florida.
Nova Southeastern University.
Alright, we're gonna get a little bit more specific. Alright, okay, so how about each of you take a little bit of time, tell me about yourself, blood type, social security number. No, tell me about yourself, why you're here at NSU, what you're aspiring to be. What's your role in the Craig Show? What's going on?
Alright, let's start this off. Well, my name is Ronaldo Perez, but please call me Ray Perez, also known as DJ Racito. I'm here on Radio X. I'm a musical theater major with a business minor, and I'm here at NSU to study exactly that. But for the Craig Show, I am the percussionist. I play the bongos on our first album. Yeah. Jules, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, my name is Julian Glassdoll. I am one of the lead singers. I'm a communications major here at Nova, and also a theater minor. And I'm from New York originally, but I moved here to Florida over 10 years ago. And honestly, thanks to being here in Florida, I was able to meet my wonderful bandmates.
What's up? I'm Nico. I am a theater major here at Nova Southeastern University. I co-write songs with Julian. I provide background vocals and compose all the songs on guitar for the Craig Show.
Hot. Okay. So the Craig Show. Here's my qualm with the Craig Show as it stands right now. We have three beautiful men in this booth with me right now who are featured on this album. Problem is, none of you are named Craig. So what's the deal with the Craig Show? Where'd the band get its name?
Well, we're gonna get that over to Ray.
Ray, can we pass that one to you?
Of course. Well, let me explain because the Craig Show, it actually is an inside joke.
Okay.
See, you're right. None of us are named Craig, but
There's a whole joke.
Is there more to it?
No.
I actually would really like it for it to just stop there. You see, it's a joke because none of us are named Craig.
It's okay. So my roommate's name is Craig, right? He's in the same program as us three, and it became an occurring joke that I made up. First semester here, that whenever Craig tries to tell a joke, mind you, none of Craig's jokes are funny.
Whoa. Pretty good for listening, man.
Whenever Craig tries to tell a joke, I would yell and make a big show, and I would say, "Oh, it's the Craig Show, everybody! The funniest man on earth! It's Craig with your host, Craig!" And it was just to bully the absolute daylights out of him. And the poor kid, it completely destroyed his self-esteem as I learned that.
It completely destroyed him, which is why we named our band that.
So we decided to name the band that.
The name is in memoriam.
It's
like
that
a
one guy,
eulogy.
Craig.
He ended up becoming our mascot, however, and he's on the album art.
That's
Yeah.
right. He's featured in the album art.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you want to know how Craig feels about it now, he's completely fine with it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
alright.
it's incredible to see how enthused he's become about
Yes.
the
He's
band.
taken the meme
Yeah.
status and just like rolled with
He's
it.
just run with it.
He's heard the album already, and he's like, yes.
Yeah, he's on
All the way.
album, too.
I send it all the way.
See, I haven't met Craig, but I already love him because the back of the track list for the album on the back cover just features a beautiful picture of him holding what I believe is the is like a crocheted Star of David.
Well, that's because he's a beautiful Jewish man, and here we at the Craig Show do not discriminate. Oh, God!
Oh my god. Yeah. You're gonna have to explain that one to me too a little bit. Alright, no, I get it. He's Jewish. But is it just because you're playing up the meme as much as you can?
Yeah.
It's the definition of beating a dead horse. It's just burying a joke in the ground.
Also, if you really listen intently, if you really dissect each track, you'll hear a slight tambourine in the background.
You'll also hear a Jewish psalm.
Yes.
Oh my
Jewish-
god.
Yeah.
Only Jewish songs.
Yeah, and
Only
not
Jewish
only
songs.
that, but also we decided to include that because Craig is so incredibly Jewish, and it's so funny because he rooms with me that if you see us walking around, you'll see him. He has a Star of David around his neck, and if you see me walking around with him, I'll be walking right next to him with a little Virgin Mary around my neck.
And you know what? That's just all of us getting along and coexisting.
Yeah, it's
I love it.
it's not us making fun of the Jewish religion. It's just making light of it because Craig is so passionate about it. He has a chain that is the Star of David. So we're just we're taking that bit and bringing it up to a new height.
Well, it's definitely great. It's good that you guys have that amongst yourselves because if you want to talk about passion for a country, for those of you who listen to DJ Racito, for those of you who listen to him on our show on Saturday nights, you will know that he is the most Cuban person that you could possibly know, and he is very proud of that, which is a great thing. That is a great thing.
Thank you.
So no, that's great. So I'm kind of curious then, in the sense of, so you have this album. Where did this come from? Because I know that you all are all involved in Shark Talent, and I know that this is something that you guys are interested in terms of your own success in your careers and your hobbies and in general. But is there anything specifically that inspired you to do this, or is there somebody who told you that they wanted to see where did the inspiration come from to start making this?
I've been writing and producing and releasing my own music for maybe over 3 years now. So, I mean, I'm kind of not the brains behind that aspect of it, but sure, the brains behind that aspect of it. I mixed and mastered the whole album by myself.
Master of the humble brag over here.
Yeah, but so there was one day, and Jules, when we first met, became incredibly aware of that and was like, "I'm going to use this little Latin boy to my advantage." And he came up to me one day and he had a beat he found on YouTube, and he was like, "Hey, can you do something similar to this?" So I wrote a melody that was slightly similar, not exactly the same thing. And if you go back to the song now, which I'll tell you what song that became in a little bit, it sounds nothing alike. That song became the first song we wrote, which is the single for the album, Crosshairs. And then, slowly but surely, we just started to write more songs. It wasn't in an effort to write an album. We were just like, oh, we have a song idea. Let's do this. Oh, Ray, come write a bongo part for it. And then we just realized we have enough songs for an album.
Yeah, my brother Chris Drums, he's a rapper, and I've always written with him because he's you look up to your older brothers. So I've always tried writing music, specifically hip hop, and then I got into singing, and then he ended up having me on a couple of his songs, and it was cool. So one thing I really love is when I meet musicians and they'll start playing like a guitar, or piano, something like that, and I'll just like harmonize a little bit and start a little melody and then like freestyle sing. So one day that's how me and Nico really got close because he started doing that. And then I started, singing along, and then we came up with this really weird song called Dr. Pepper on My Desk. It was awesome. And then from then, that's when I knew it was cool that I could bring him a beat. And then we did that. And then once we made Crosshairs, I was like, we were both talking, and we were like, Ray, our roommate, plays bongos. let's add some Latin flavor on this, because there was already Latin lyrics. So we bring him on, and it was so butter, like it was so smooth the way it came, so
I
butter.
think I've never used that as as an adjective before, but I like that.
And mind you, my point of view from this whole thing was just like I was sitting in my room and they're like, hey, come here, play some bongos. And I was like,
I'm not gonna pass up some opportunities to play some bongos.
Yeah.
That's great, and that ties in. I'm glad you answered that, because you kind of answered another one of my questions in the midst of that, in the sense that a lot of people, when they're first starting out, especially rappers, and especially people in your line of the genre, before they release a full album project, they'll usually release like a mixtape or an EP. So, preparing for this interview, I was really intrigued to know why you guys decided to start off with a full album. And not to discredit anything that you guys are doing, but in terms of making that album and saying, okay, yeah, this is going to be our first release, it's a full LP, what do you think were some of the biggest challenges that you had to face when it comes to terms of that? Or was there ever maybe a point where you're like, maybe we should make this shorter just to like keep it a little bit more concise? Like, what do you guys think?
I have an excellent answer for that, because as the person who mixed and mastered and recorded everyone, making this was incredibly stressful, because all of us have intense schedules due to the fact that we are in Shark Talent and in communications and in theater, and we have very demanding schedules because we have to go to rehearsals, we have to go to photo shoots, we have to go to video shoots, and all of that stuff. So probably the most difficult part was recording everything, because we just couldn't find time to record it. Yeah. And then and then there were moments where I was like, maybe we should cut the skits and just make it songs all the way through, but then it becomes way too short and we can't really call them an album.
Yeah.
And we just had to just strap on our boots, take it by the belt strap and just really just do it. I mean, I had to really do it. I had to yell at these guys, when can you record? When can you record? When can you record?
I remember we were in improv the other day and you were freaking out because you were like, yeah, this album releases like next week. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool though, because like I was impressed with, because he started writing skits. He was like, hey, I'm gonna write skits and I want you to read them and stuff because I think we could really take this somewhere. So he shows me the skits and I'm like, yes. This is the Craig show. So it's not even just a meme at that point. It becomes an actual show in which there's actual like plot going on. And then when you hear the album is cohesive and everything. So it really is a full-blown album, and honestly, this is my first project I've ever put out. Yeah. Like I've ever been a part of. Really, I've been a part of like other things put out, but never on like Spotify and all that. So I'm just like, sweet.
And part of the reason we called it the pilot episode is because we wanted to embrace the whole thing with the Craig Show name. So we're calling this the pilot episode. One, because the album runs at a total of 22 minutes, which is a pilot episode minus commercials.
There you go.
And because it has a story to it. There are 3 skits that kind of work like the improv game Symphony, where at each skit we are at a different point in the story, and time has passed. And it ends in a very great way, and it concludes, but it still leaves us off with these characters, which are just us, and you wonder, where is this going to go next? And then we want to title the next album something like Season 1 and Season 2 and stuff like that, and just have it be a whole thing, and just kind of make it all this show, kind of this, it's like a theatrical kind of thing.
And what's great is being that all of us are included in theater, we were able to do so much with it. Like, Ray, you have your own monologue that he wrote himself.
Don't give it
Oh,
away.
sorry about that. That was something for the fans.
Let me add something really quickly, but yeah, definitely with recording and stuff like that, I really gotta give the props to Nico on this one, because like when you give an artist, for example, something like a task, like, hey, let me get this project by this day and this time. If the project is not intriguing, if it's not something that an artist wants to do, if it's more commissioned, you're not gonna get the best work possible.
Right.
However, with this, Nico gave me idea after idea, and every one, it was something that I really, really liked. Yeah. I took it and I was like, oh, this is great. I can do this with it. I can do that with it. And there was a lot of room for creative liberty as well, and I really appreciate that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard plenty of artists talk about the fact that as soon as they try to cater toward a certain audience, or as soon as they sign like with a label that wants to, you know, portray a certain theme or a certain message, that's when they start to burn out. They start to like lose their creativity because they don't have the freedom to do anything anymore. So it's great that you guys have that opportunity now, and to get that taste of it this early on, you know. So I think at this point in the interview is as good a time as any to show rather than tell, like all of our English teachers in high school told us to do, but we didn't do anyway. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and play the song that they mentioned earlier, Crosshairs, and then we're gonna take a quick little break for some short messages. Don't forget though, we got more great interview content with these three lovely rappers, entertainers, musicians, whatever else you want to call them. But yeah, guys, stay tuned. Here's Crosshairs by The Craig Show, and we'll be back in just a little bit. And we're back with The Craig Show. Again, in case you're just tuning in, local band / conglomerate / I don't know what else I want to call it, stable?
Boy
Sure,
band.
stable.
Boy band.
Boy band.
Vaudeville
Oh,
show.
no. They're trying to be Brockhampton over here.
Boy band.
I can't let that happen. But anyway, we're here with The Craig Show. We got DJ Raycito, a.k.a. Reynaldo Perez. We got Julian Glassdahl.
Hello.
We got Nico Raymond. So, before our commercial break, our PSA break, our announcement break, we had Crosshairs by The Craig Show. And, you know, I really like that stuff. This is the first time I've actually heard anything by the three of you together, because I've heard some of Nico's stuff before. But this is the first time that I've ever heard your guys' music, and I have to say I like it a lot. But,
Thank you.
you know, while we were listening to it, it brought a question to my mind. So, I know that Ray plays percussion, and I know that you sing and songwrite, and same thing with you, and you mix and master, but, like, in terms of the other instruments that I heard in that mix, where does that come from? Like, do you guys play multiple instruments, or are some of them samples?
Well, I play guitar, piano, and drums, but in the Craig Show, it's easier for me to write on guitar because that's the instrument I'm best at. So we usually do songs on guitar.
I use my voice.
Sick. And however, in the song there is saxophone, and so when we originally wrote it with a friend of ours, and who's not in the band, but we wrote it with her. And due to scheduling issues, she couldn't record. And we were like, all right, that's fine. So I have a friend who I knew in high school. His name is Abnel, and he's an excellent saxophone player. So I called him up last minute. I was like, yo, can you lay down some 6 sax, please?
6 sax?
Some 6
Six
sax.
sax.
Some 6 sax. You say that 10 times
6
fast.
sax.
And he came through, and he did a great job. We did maybe 15 takes, and I meshed the best of those together, and it was great.
Awesome.
He's on a handful of tracks.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
amazing.
it's good that you guys have access to Shark Talent as a whole, because you have so many talented people. You got violinists, you got pianists, you got trumpeters, you got saxophonists.
Got a whole lot.
Got a whole lot. And that also begs the question. So, what do you guys normally do when you perform live, or what's your plan for when you perform live? Because I don't know if you guys have performed live before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but do you guys normally just play the track, like an instrumental version of the track, and then sing over it, or do you have the live instruments come out, maybe sans the saxophone?
Well, we've done 2 performances as the Craig Show.
Yeah.
We did Crosshairs 2 days after we wrote it, I think.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
like
Actually,
that.
we did Crosshairs like right after.
At an
we wrote
open
it.
mic. At an open mic with
First week of
the
school.
full band. The first week of school. I was on guitar, Ray on the bongos, Julian on lead vocals, and our friend Tal on sax. And we did another one. We did a cover of "Careless Whisper" by George Michael, and I was on
Amazing
lead
song.
and guitar. Julian was on tambourine and background. Ray was on bongos and background, and Tal was on saxophone. We are performing in a few weeks at a Relay for Life event, and it's going to be interesting how we tackle this one. Since we're billed incredibly late into the night, it's a whole 24-hour show thing. It's going to be interesting to see how we manage to work it out, because we don't know if we can get a saxophonist or get a tape thing. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. We're trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be really nice. It's gonna be our first performance after dropping the album, so it's gonna be cool. When's that gonna be? Like April 13th? April 13th in the Library Quad on Nova Southeastern University, the campus. So it's gonna be cool.
Awesome. Sounds like exciting times.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
like,
11:30.
11:30.
11:30 p.m.
Nice. So, obviously you're here. You're doing your interview. And this is the first time you've been interviewed. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is definitely a great chance of exposure for you guys. And I really want to know, what are your plans for exposing yourselves other than this avenue? Because with the advent of social media and stuff like that today, I mean, I know that you guys have a pretty crazy social media presence. You guys post all the time. Some crazy stuff. Sometimes I look at my Instagram feed and I'm just like, okay, Nico, what are you doing? Please calm down. But, so what kind of efforts have you guys been taking to put yourselves out there?
We are looking to put out a couple music videos in the near future for songs like Crosshairs and stuff like that. We'll put those on YouTube. Because I find that music videos help promote artists a lot, more so than even like replays on SoundCloud and Twitter, all that. Because people like visuals. So that's what I am working on trying to do right now. The rest of the group, I'm not so sure. But because I have experience with, Julian and I have experience with music videos, so we're trying to put that together right now.
Now, I know that Ray is a photography man, and I know that you did the photo shoot for the cover art, right?
Oh, actually,
that's
I
cool,
did.
yeah.
Sorry.
That was Julian.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
No, it's cool.
You can neck me after we go off air, but...
No, it's cool. Yeah, I do photography on my Instagram at Tall Glass Photography, and it's great because Craig has such a beautiful face. And such and
beautiful Jewish face.
a beautiful
Jewish
The
man.
eyes, wow, the eyes.
yeah, and Ray gets the God-given opportunity to live with him in the same room, so it's amazing. But yeah, we hit him up and we were like, hey, do this, and he was like, do it. I'm gonna do it to the best of my ability, and so we just went and did a photo shoot. And honestly, if you go on our Instagram, they are the best pictures I've ever taken thus far in my career, and it hasn't even started yet.
Ooh boy, the confirmation bias. No, I'm just totally. No, but it makes sense that you would put your best effort forward for this project because you guys definitely seem very hyped about it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get a little bit more personal here. Don't run away yet. It's okay. Nothing crazy. But it begs the question because at this point I'm under the camp, the side of the fence, I guess. I don't know how to word this. It's a Friday. It's been a long week. I'm on the side of the argument that nothing in music is totally original anymore because pretty much everything's been done. And when that becomes the case, it's often you find that whenever you listen to a new artist, you can definitely put together what other artists influenced them to make that music. So for you guys, what would you say would be your individual influences in the way that you write, or in the way that you play your instruments, in the way that you think about music as a whole?
Right?
Okay, well, I'd say for this album, there was definitely a lot of influences from, honestly, I know I'm Cuban, but a lot of influences from Puerto Rican salsa. Definitely from like the 70s and the 80s.
Boricua.
Boricua?
Represent. Anyways.
Like, because for me personally, a lot of the salsa that I learned to play, actually, surprisingly, did not come from Cuban artists. A lot of the practice I've had in salsa has been playing the Puerto Rican salsa singers and salsa songs. Like everybody who was basically on the Fania record label, I used to play their songs all the time, right? So definitely for things like the cover of Careless Whisper and Crosshairs, as you guys just heard, a lot of it was just simple beats taken from Puerto Rican salsa, which of course was modeled after Cuban son, and it was like reinvented in a way. It was just stylized to make it fit the genre of music that I was playing for. In fact, you can even hear on another song on the album. I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna let you guys listen to the album and find out which one it is.
He just loves to bait people. He just loves to bait you guys.
Another one, I take a wawanko rhythm, which is an Afro-Cuban rhythm, and I just change the tempos and I just change where the hands go on the two drums to create the beat. So that's why when we were recording these songs and when we were writing them, when they would just call me and put me down to make this beat to the song, I already knew what I had to play. I just had to tweak it here and there. So that's definitely one of my two most major influences.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, see, my music taste is really out there. So like I'll listen to Dream On by Aerosmith, and then right after listen to New York State of Mind by Nas, and completely feel unchanged in my mood because they're just great songs. And like a lot of my music taste also is derived from my family. My family listens to salsa, hip hop, alternative rock, all that kind of stuff. And my dad listens to a lot of what is it? the Aha song.
Take
On Me. Yeah.
You
Like,
can't name Take On Me.
I'm sorry.
You don't deserve to be in this
listen.
room.
But no, they're like a lot of my music taste comes from my family, and then also because I started to write music and I was really into literature when I was younger, I became a poet. So like I write a lot of like slam poetry and stuff like that, and I've turned in a lot of poetry to like my high school's publications and stuff like that. So in my writing style, I want to say it's poetic, or there's a lot of like whenever I write something, it's usually meaningful and it's usually about like something I've experienced in the past or something my friends have experienced in the past. And I honestly, and everything that's on this album, whatever you hear, was derived from something that I've experienced or I've seen personally, and I implement that into my songwriting. And then my writing style is honestly, I don't know. You're gonna have to like honestly, it's just mixed with so like the like lyricism and at the same time a lot of metaphors and analogies. It's great. Yeah.
My musical influences in my own music include a whole lot of people like Tyler the Creator, Childish Gambino, Frank Zappa, David Bowie, Prince, Counting Crows, and all that. But in terms of like specifically for this album and writing guitar, people like Prince, Frank Zappa, those people come to mind. David Bowie comes to mind. Modern musical theater comes to mind. You can hear it even in Crosshairs. There's elements taken from not even just contemporary musical theater, but musical theater in general. And there's this band called Counting Crows, and they write such beautiful melodies, and their lyrics tell such beautiful stories. And I think you can hear, if you took all the artists I just mentioned, put them in a blender, and then threw Cuba, Argentina, and Panama into that blender, and sprinkled a little bit of the LGBT community into that blender, I would come out. And this album would come out with
Why
it.
do you know the recipe for, like, if you want to make a Nico Raymond at home?
He just
5
gave
easy
you
steps, baby! Yeah.
the ill recipe.
Not delivery, it's Nico.
All right, so judging off of everything that I just heard from you guys, I think I'm going to cut. No, just kidding. I'm totally kidding. But I think we are going to play the second track that the Craig Show has brought for us today. It is Crosshairs the Reprise.
Yes.
Before we get into that, tell me a little bit more about that, because I know that reprise in theater means it's kind of like a callback to the song. And so what does that mean on the album? Like, did you guys...
reprise, it essentially means the same thing. A reprise is essentially the song again, but in a different light, in a different tone. Usually reprises, a song will happen in the first act of a show, and the reprise will come in the second act, and the second act of musicals are usually a lot sadder. Usually the main conflict comes to a height in the second act. So usually reprises are tonally more melancholy and a lot sadder. I can cite a musical like Rent. They have a song called I'll Cover You, which in the first act is super joyous. It's about falling in love and I'll hold you at night when you're sick. And in the reprise, it's a lover singing to his lover who's passed away at his wake. So tonally, they're the same song, but they're tonally incredibly different, and that's what we kind of did with this song. And you can talk about writing it.
Yeah, writing it. Well, essentially, like what's great is, and holding that whole like theater aspect of it is that it's still like a show. It still carries that same narrative from the first song. However, in this song, and you'll hear it, it's obviously it's a little bit more somber. It's more I don't know the
melancholy?
word. Melancholy. There we go.
Melancholy is a great word.
Yeah, it is a great word. I love that word, melancholy.
Melon.
Word of the day.
You say it too many times, it just doesn't sound like a word anymore. But
It sounds more like a lifestyle. Anyways, this song is much more melancholy, but that doesn't at all take away from how great this song is instrumentally. I mean, because it's honestly the saddest feel-good song you'll ever listen to.
Okay.
That's perfect. That's actually perfect.
The saddest feel-good song you'll ever listen to.
Well, a picture, or in this case a song, speaks better than 1,000 words. So I think we're going to go ahead and let the listeners hear Crosshairs Reprise. Same deal as before. We got Nico Raymond in the booth. We got DJ Raycito in the booth. And we got Mr. Aha Man. Doesn't know what Take On Me is. Julian Glassdoll in the booth. We're about to play Craig Show's Crosshairs Reprise. We're going to take a quick break for some short messages. And we'll be right back for the tail end of our wonderful interview tonight. We are back with the Craig Show. That is DJ Raycito, Julian Glassdoll doesn't
Yes.
know who what Take On Me is.
Oh my God.
And I'm never going to let you live that one down just because I love that song.
Thank
and
you.
Nico Raymond, self-proclaimed best rapper in the world.
Greatest rapper of all time,
So, before
24/7.
that, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I jumped the gun really hard. My God, I am terrible. Anyway, that song you heard before the PSA break was the reprise of Crosshairs. And as they like to, as they described it before we played it, it is
The saddest feel-good song of here.
the saddest feel-good song. That really, I don't know how I feel about that. That just kind of defeats the purpose of that point. But if you want to have it, it's like the pretzel M&Ms. If you want salty and sweet at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, I can get behind that.
Yeah, this that song's only salty.
only salty. A little bit of sweetness. A little bit.
It's pretty sweet. It's really sweet. It's
Okay.
nice.
Well, that's good. That's good. So moving on to the last third of the interview, we've heard a lot about their influences and the process of making it. So what I'm interested in talking about now, guys, is what your plans are for the future. So I know that you mentioned previously that you kind of want the Craig Show to evolve sort of chronologically from this album. Like you said that this is the pilot episode, and then the next album is season 1, season 2, so on and so forth. So what are your current plans / ideas for season 1?
Well, Nico's not mixing and mastering another album by himself for a fat minute. I'm going to put that out there, because this was not fun. But I think we're just going to push this album for all it's worth. Maybe book a couple shows, shoot a couple music videos, and just put it out there, give you guys the material to put it on the station, and just blast it cross campus. But personally, my goal, I want to get this off campus. I want to get people off campus asking, who's this Greg guy? Why you got a show? And then to listen to it and to be happily surprised as to, hey, this is pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
I never thought I'd use Hulu, but the Craig Show,
This Greg show is pretty good.
it's amazing. All right, that's great.
Yeah.
What about like you individually as artists? Because I know we're talking about solo projects already. You guys are gonna start beefing.
Well,
You're gonna start beefing right now.
well, but before Nico goes and
I'm not.
oh, okay.
You go right
Well,
before he leaves you guys, for having to master all your stuff.
I'm not solidifying anything, but you know, projects that are solo that may come out, who knows what may happen, you know, in that regard. But definitely a lot of work is going to be done, especially this summer, that we're going to have actual free time. You know, we're definitely working on we're cooking things up. Definitely.
Julian's thinking of putting out his own solo project, so look out for that. Thanks.
What? Actually, talking about that, isn't Nico dropping a solo something?
Let's let Ray talk.
All right. That's how I have to start out. You gotta go. All right. But
What
What?
was that?
Go ahead, Ray. Go ahead.
that's the Outcast thing. That's what they do on Outcast.
That is what they do on Outcast.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Okay.
It's okay. I'll give you a pass on that one. I was apprehensive at first, but now you have my.
On every song, on every album, they go, all right.
all right. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
It never stops. That's Hey Ya in a nutshell. That's the entire song.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I got projects going on pretty much every aspect of art. I mean, right now, I have a play that I've written that I'm trying to get into a theater in Miami. We're currently in that right now, and next semester, actually, I'm working to get my own cabaret on campus. We actually talked about this a little bit. It's going to be called Nova Nights, right? I'll talk about that later. You know, this interview is about the Craig Show. You know.
I'll come back another time. Take up another hour.
This is the DJ Raycito interview.
And of course, we're going to be keeping DJ Raycito live in Latin. So
Of course. How could you live without DJ Raycito on
Now-
Saturday nights from 9 to 12? Shameless plug. Listen to him tomorrow.
So I'm a busy man, you know. I got a lot of stuff going on, but I will always be down to record with these guys and to play live with these guys. I just love the atmosphere when we get on stage and when we're in the recording studio. You know,
I love you too, Ray.
I was talking just about you, Jules.
Real emotion.
Just about you.
Thank you.
Play among the Craig Show.
But I just love it. Anytime these guys call on me, I'll come down from my little back cave.
From Little Havana, located 5 feet from my room.
Can I take on you, Ray?
This got really sentimental.
Yeah.
Okay, first
Can
of
I
all,
take on
you're
you?
not allowed to make that joke. Second of all, this got really sentimental. That was nice.
Anyway, back to plugging.
Back to not in motion.
I'm working on a solo album right now, currently.
An album.
Yeah.
Look at you, ambitious.
Yeah. I'm working on an album right now. I can't say the name because
Because he doesn't have it.
I have it, but I don't want to put it out yet.
Gotcha.
I'll announce it later. And I'm also dropping. I've taken it upon myself to challenge myself and my creativity, and I'm dropping 12 music videos, a video for each month of the year. So I dropped a video for my song "Stuck" in January, shot by Julian and directed by me. I put out a video for my song "Won't Catch Me," directed by myself in February, and I just put out maybe 2 days ago a music video for my song "Void," directed by me and shot with help from Julian and a couple of his friends. And we put that out, and I'm working on a brand new single for April, and that'll be coming out shortly. And the first half of the year, it's all going to be stuff that's not going to be on the album. The second half of the year is going to be all stuff that's going to be on the album. And then next year, the album will come out. So that's the year that Nico's got ahead of him. And then just Craig's show and just working with these guys because it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're all freshmen, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you're all freshmen. So in that case, I mean, not to scare you. This is some senior experience coming from you right now. Something that I'll say is that when I was a freshman, if you had met me when I was a freshman, I'm just going to tell you right now, you would not have liked me. Probably because I never would have talked to you, because I was a blank slate. Not to say that you guys definitely have personality and space, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is that you never really know how much you can change as a person from year to year, because in my experience, it's crazy. So obviously, you guys can't predict the future. You don't know what's going to happen. But in terms of your schooling at NSU and in terms of the choices that you've made so far, how do you see yourself evolving, not only as artists but as people, as time goes on, as your academic career at NSU?
Who wants to take that question first?
I'll take that.
It's a tough one, right?
So how are we going to evolve in the future as people? Honestly, what I've learned is that, and like this is just from talking out of experience from talking with Ray and Nico, just like on personal levels, is that we've evolved so much from who we were before. Before we came here, like back in high school, middle school, even elementary school, who we were then, we've evolved and we've only gotten better as people. So I only foresee, especially if we hang around each other enough and we make music and we involve ourselves in things that are creative as we have, that we can only evolve so much more to the point where it just becomes like, where we become the best possible us that we can be, individually and as a group. And I think that's like a really cool thing, because even like I mentioned before, my brother as a rapper, I've seen him evolve from who he was when he started writing to who he is now, making videos and actually getting ready to drop something. And it's like, yeah, music really does take people a long way in terms of who they are inside and within.
Ray?
Because bring on me right away. Well, I actually like this question a lot. I'll say this: from the beginning of the year to now we're reaching the end of the school year, it's been just about everything I expected. Each day, each week has been better than the last, and I've noticed a constant trend of growth, especially in my personal life, and especially in the lives of these two right here, because these two were goons at the beginning of the year. Just kidding, but something that's really noteworthy in our experience here is that it's been a constant trend of growth. We've grown this far because we haven't given up a single day, right? And something that reminds me of this a lot is that one night we were in Julian's room, and I don't know. We had like something happened. It was like a roommate problem or something. I don't know. It wasn't us, but
It wasn't me.
and we were in his room, and he has a whiteboard in his room, and I noticed something written on it, and it said, "Do better," right? In big letters, it said, "Do better," and then I think under that, it said, "Nothing changes," and I looked at that, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool, good job, Jules. And then he was kind of like, oh, yeah. Bio tells me that. And I was like, yeah, that's really spot on, Nothing changes, so do better. Because, it doesn't matter what your conditions are. Next week is probably going to be worse than this week. You just need to improve yourself as a person, Don't wish for less problems, wish for a better you. And apparently they didn't get that right away when they saw that. Because they were like, oh, man, you're right. But yeah, definitely, I think for the future, if it keeps going like it's been going, which I know it will, because we're working towards that, then we have big things coming.
Nico?
Can't avoid it now.
I just want to blow up and act like I don't know nobody. That's my autistic goals. I mean, personally, I just feel that nothing changes, as Ray just brought up, is a lifestyle. And you won't understand it when you first hear it. You'll be like, nothing changes, that's kind of a negative thing. And it's a negative and a positive thing. And I don't want to go on a whole nothing changes tangent, because this is about nothing changes. This is about me and the Craig Show. But artistically, I have this whole thing I'm doing this year, taking advantage of the year and then next year. And I just... My goal artistically is to make music that some kid like me with no one to look up to could connect to. Some kid confused about their sexuality, super into their Hispanic heritage, and who just feels like an outsider, goes to concerts by himself because he has no friends, and just a total loser like me. But it's great, and that's the music I want to make, and I feel like I'm doing that with Craig Show, and I feel like I'm doing that when I do my music, and I feel like I just kind of am that as a person. I try to represent that because there's not a lot of people who get someone like that. We're starting to get that now with people like Tyler, the Creator, and the rise of Brockhampton and Kevin Abstract, but even then, those aren't mainstream artists. If you look at people in the top 40, these are people who are groomed and hit with makeup and all this marketing to be these goddesses, these perfect beings, and I think I just want to be flawed, not only just in my artistry, but in my everyday life, because to err is human, and that's me, baby. Yeah. 24/7, 365, 24 hours open like IHOP, baby. Yeah.
366 on a leap year.
Very inspiring words for the member of the Craig Show. But no, like all jokes aside, that's some great introspection. And I'm glad you were able to do that on live radio. That's like something you go home, you curl up in the fetal position, you go into your covers, and you're like, man.
You go, I shouldn't have said that.
But no, I'm glad that I was here to witness that. And I'm glad that you guys came today. So first and foremost, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, sir.
you.
We appreciate you so much.
You're a star, Adam.
Oh,
You're a golden star.
I'm starting to blush. It's a good thing that
really
radio is sound only. I am blushing. I am crying. I have my
Every
I am
orifice.
biting my nails. Every orifice. Sweating. How many orifices do you think I have?
The more the merrier, baby.
I wish we had a little bit more time to spend with the Craig Show, but unfortunately this interview is coming to an end. However, if you would like more Craig Show in your life, I'm sure that these three lovely gentlemen are able to tell you where you can find more.
You can find The Craig Show on Instagram, at Craig's Band. Like Craigslist, but a band, at Craig's Band. And you can find us on SoundCloud at The Craig Show. And you can find me, Nico Raymond, on Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, all that good stuff at Nico Raymond, which is just my name. NicoRaimont, NicoRaimont. And Instagram and Twitter is all the same thing. Julian?
Yes, you can find me personally on Instagram at tallglass_photography. And, DM me for any business inquiries. And also, and also, yeah, at Craig's Band, like the list, but Craig's Band. And we drop our album, the pilot episode, on Sunday. And it's going to be on all platforms, so YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes,
Tidal.
SoundCloud, Tidal. So whatever you like to listen to, guaranteed The Craig Show will be on there.
Right.
And you can find me at Real DJ Raycito on Instagram. Saturdays 9 to 12 right here on Radio X and anywhere in Little Havana.
He is indeed the real DJ Raycito. You know, there's no...
There's no imposters, baby.
There's no imposters.
It's just real.
It's actually
you only get the real DJ Raycito right here on radio. Let me tell you, you got an imposter out there.
It's actually really funny. This whole interview, I think this is the calmest I've been on Radio X.
That is actually like the true, because like you came in here, I had to bump your mic up higher than anybody else's, because you came in here and you're just like, yeah, so my name is Ray, and I just, you know, it's very out of character for you, but I love it. I love it. It's a whole new side of you that I'm seeing right now. But anyway, guys, you heard it here first. Exclusive interview on Radio X, The Craig Show, and in case you forgot where you're listening to it, your radio is currently tuned to Nova Southeastern University's Radio X, broadcasting on 88.5 FM, WKPX Sunrise, and this is DJ DeRoss Fader. So thank you once again to DJ Raycito, Reynaldo Perez, Julian Glassthal, and Nico Raymond for being on my program tonight.